Get on in here. Get on in. Come on. Get in this car. Hopefully the trip is better than what this one's titled. Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful one out there today. We are returning to some Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. We're going to listen to this track, Death Trip. This is off the album, the debut album, The Human Menagerie, released in 1973. We're listening to this track because it was recommended and sponsored as well by One Las Cruces. So One Las Cruces, thank you so much for the support and the recommendation. And this was also suggested by, hold on, I got your names pulled up right here, Julie B., David Cobson, Didier Chapelot, or Chapelot, Reckner, Andreas Burton, Tom Byrne, Barry Wilkinson, I'm looking back and forth getting names, Michael Capewell, 333 Wheeler, Wills, and the list goes on and on quite decently from there. So thank you all so much for the recommendations. Thank you so much for the support, by the way. I hope I've mentioned that enough in previous videos, but really, really appreciate you guys supporting the channel, especially right now. So let's go ahead and dive on in. We've listened to a few tracks from Cockney Rebel, and I've enjoyed it. I think it's really, really interesting. Not really all of it. It's just really interesting to listen to, but in a good way. Sebastian was really cool. Let's go ahead and listen to Death Trip. We'll talk about it after. Here we go.
Okay, right, please. From the top.
From the top.
So now we're on a death trip. Listen to the blood drip, oozing from the cold lip. Ever thought of dying slowly?
Well, that's a little morbid, huh?
Ever thought of dying totally unholy?
And the pick guitar.
Someone's trying to fool us. Maybe it's your daughters. Can you hear the walrus offering a sad solution? He's calling out for teenage revolution.
There's the call to arms.
One good reason to remain.
That bass snuck in there.
To remain.
There's your call. I love his accent and the way he sings and enunciates in here.
To keep my mind in motion. Your images of sunshine, please to make the words rhyme. Let me die in 8 time. Let me write a tale to nowhere. Let me write a tale to make you think you're someone. Can you think of one good reason to remain?
I like the little vibration on the horns there at that one moment. I love how he holds that note so powerfully and those horns just triumphant. Is that violin cutting in? A jolly little melody there. It's like this little marching band, like a little parade, like toy soldiers.
Because we dip our mail to make us feel much freer. Take a pinch and scheme line and turn it into beam line.
It's so fantastical.
Softly like track, she whispered in off. Build me a picture of children above. Because we dip our nail to make us feel much freer. Take a pinch of scheme line and turn it into beam line. Softly like track, she
Okay,
whispered
okay.
in off. Build me a picture of children above.
It's like psychedelic glam in a way.
Because we dip our nail to make us feel much freer. Take a pinch of scheme line and turn it into beam line.
That rambling, galloping drum. Back to this. I guess not. Like, this is such a unique atmosphere. Take this microcosm right here of the song. Right? It's so interesting and varied. Repeating his vocal lines. That is so cool. It's very like adventurous, like this sound as a whole. Not only just the actual symphonic part, but the direction this whole track has taken. And it's a very catchy melody. It's like, how much further can this go? What is this is... This is such a cool song. This is kind of reminiscent of the earlier Gallup.
So now we're on a death trip. Listen to the blood drip. oozing from a cold lip. Ever thought of dying slowly? Ever thought of dying totally unholy? Can you think of one good reason to remain?
Little plucks.
To remain.
There you go.
To remain.
I love that.
To remain.
Horns, they're like sucking in.
To remain.
It's like the build-up that happened before is happening again. Well, I guess not, because it's just ended. Is it like, okay, we've only listened to 2 other tracks from the band, and I feel like they are just so unique unto themselves. Like, I cannot really compare them to another band or another artist. Like, hints here and there, sure, but I feel like they're incredibly unique. So, okay, I'm about to kind of compare them to another artist. This is like, hear me out. This is like Beatles experimentation. This is like if the Beatles like took a darker Willy Wonka, take the tunnel of whatever psychosis, take that boat. This is like that. There's like this psychedelic, abstract eccentricity in here that is really, really unique to me. The orchestration is so flavored towards them, the band themselves. You know how often I mention in listening to a song like, you know, let's just pretend like you have a singer and they're playing the guitar and then the orchestration, the symphony plays on top of them. And I always say it's like a coat put on top of that particular singer or the band, just kind of giving that extra ambience to it, right? Here, it's like the orchestration is more part of the band. Like, I feel like the orchestra, this is how I'm viewing it, okay? Bear with me. The band is in rehearsals for the album and the recording, and the orchestra walks in and they're all getting in there. And Steve Harley and the band, they pass out notes to everyone in the orchestra, like, this is how we're going to play, this is what we're going to play. And the orchestra's looking at them like, right? Like, I feel like the orchestra, and I mean this in the best sense, is forced to play into the hand of Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. They're forced to play in their style. And I think it just sounds so cool. Like the ending, like that particular sound and the way that the band themselves start that with that held note from Harley himself, which I love that held sustained note. And there's a little bit of a weird kind of effect on his voice, it sounds like. And then the way that first just the band, just the music plays with him and does start that. And then the orchestra is forced to jump into that particular lane. They're forced to fit their square peg into this particular square hole, whether they like it or not. And I think that that just works so incredibly well. I love how the whole middle section is a lot of that orchestra playing along. I like how the beginning of this thing is so intimately and quietly built up from little bits of keyboards here. The violin is being used here. It's just so quietly built up. Eventually the bass pops in. And then before you know it, you're on this very unique journey. Because like I said, I don't feel like I've heard anything quite like this. You know, to me, it's very, very unique unto itself. Like I said, I really enjoy the vocals from Steve Harley. I like his accent that comes through so strongly. The way that he sings and the way that he, says certain words. I think it adds a little bit of a silliness to it. Like the way that he delivers and perhaps some of the lyrics even to an extent. But there's also something, especially in this track, somewhat morose about it all. This is a really cool song. John Paul Crocker on the violin. And you heard that mandolin he's also credited with playing. I'm assuming that it's mandolin or guitar that he's plucking there in those quieter moments of the verse. before it gets into everything. Stuart Elliott on the percussion, who's been everywhere. Obviously, this was just really, really fantastic. Let's dive into these lyrics, though. I might have to look up a few things on this one. So now we're on a death trip. Listen to the blood drip. And he says it's so playful. That's what I mean. Like, there's a playfulness. As I mentioned during the song, there's a fantasticalness to it. There's a whimsical nature as well. But there's something also just a little morbid. Oozing from a curled lip. Ever thought of dying slowly? Ever thought of dying totally unholy? Someone's trying to fool us. Maybe it's your daughters. Can you hear the walrus offering a sad solution? Is this a Beatles reference? He's calling out for teenage revolution. And can you think of one good reason to remain? Like, why stay here? May as well take this death trip, perhaps. To you aficionados, fooling with bravado. Keep me on my guard, O cause of consciousness explosion. It's getting difficult to keep my mind in motion. Images of sunshine, please make the words rhyme. Let me die an 8 time. Let me write a tale to no one. Let me write a tale to make you think you're someone. Can you think of one good reason to remain? Like, I don't know some of the more cryptic lyrics, I would say, in my mind. But it feels like he's trying to like think or come up with a reason, even imagining a reason to remain. We'll grow sweet impamia to make us feel much freer, then take a pinch of Shemland and turn it into dreamland. Sweet Lautrec, she whispered in awe, build me a picture of children at war. Sorry, I was trying to raw. Okay, let me Google some of these real quick. We'll grow sweet impamia. It's a flower. A flower. Ba ba ba. The most widespread common name is morning glory, but some species are related to genera. What are their uses? Some species have small, colorful flowers that are ornamentals. Food crops like sweet potatoes. Okay, so it's just a flower. Morning glory. Okay. Getting back to the lyrics, make us feel much freer. Okay, we'll take a pinch of Schemeland. Schemeland. Maybe it's Schemeland. A minimal introduction to programming. No, programming was not around. Nothing there, huh? Nothing specific there. Okay, so I don't know what this is. The Schemeland. Maybe it's Schemeland. Maybe. We'll take a pinch of Schemeland, like they're scheming, and turn it into dreaming. I think that's what's happening. I thought it was going to be like another type of flower or something, and I'm trying to read it. Skimland. Softly Lautrec, she whispered in awe, build me a picture of children at war. I'm doing a lot of Googling here. A French painter, printmaker, draughtsman, caricaturist, and illustrator. Okay, I've seen that. So is that his style? That's that type of painting. La Toilette. A lot of women bathing or doing things. Okay, that was his focus. But so this style, that's from him then. Like this style of drawing right here. Okay, so that's softly Lautrec, she whispered, build me a picture of children at war. I don't know, because I'm not familiar with his art, but I believe I've seen most of these pictures kind of like, you know, at not diners, but at like, there's a specific word I'm thinking of. When you're sitting outside of a cafe, like, you know, people sitting at cafes and such. Or maybe at, you know, at, not a cabaret, some sort of dance place or something like that. So is it like most of the pictures perhaps are more entertaining and playful and jovial, whereas maybe she's saying, draw me a picture of children at war, something more realistic perhaps? And then it repeats over there. And so now we're on a death trip. Listen to the blood drip oozing from the curled lip. Ever thought of dying slowly? Ever thought of dying totally unholy? And can you think of one good reason to remain? I think that this is what it all comes down to. Like the scheming, the dreaming, trying to think of ideas to you know, or trying to think of something to keep you here. But in the end, he's saying, can you think of one good reason to remain? This is also perhaps fitting because it's the final track on the album. So maybe it's, I mean, yes, it could, of course, just strictly be about death, but it could also be, in a sense, about the conclusion of the album. Can you think of one more reason to remain? Well, no. Hence, we're finishing the album, right? Like it could be something like that, like a little bit of a breaking the fourth wall situation. I like that. I think that that's really cool. All right. That was a wonderful track. That, like I said, the band has, in the few songs that we've listened to them, or listened to from them, have definitely been very, very interesting. And kind of hard to like put into a particular box. Not that bands need to be put into boxes, but it's kind of exciting to hear something a little bit, a little bit different, I guess you could say. This was a really, really great track. Cruises, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you for the suggestion and, of course, the support. I appreciate that. Let me know what you guys thought of the track in the comments down below. Press the like button before you leave, before you scoot, before you take your trip. Not this kind of trip, but like a cool trip, like go to the beach, go to the woods or your garden. The kitchen is even adventurous sometimes. You never know what you're going to find in the back of that fridge. Could be an old brownie that you've been thinking about. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great one. That's because I have an old brownie that I left in there. I like a brownie in the fridge. I like it when it's like cold and a little bit hard. I like a cold, hard brownie. Anyways, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later. Bye.